Hi, I'm Asher, and this is a As I Read It review of the young adult novel The Maze Runner by James Dashner. For this review, because it's an As I Read It review, that means that I'll be reviewing the book as I read it, like in sections. Because every book is different, and I can't say like, oh, it'll be every chapter or every 2 chapters. It's going to be essentially just, I'll read a section. It could be 1 chapter, 8 chapters, and then when I feel like I've read enough that I need to like talk about something that's happened, that's when I would make this review. So I'll be applying that formula of reading a section and then doing a review of it and then reading it and then reviewing it. And so I'm essentially just telling you my opinions and my experiences at, reviewing the book as I'm reading it. This is very important though. It's completely and totally spoiler filled with the specific section that I'm reviewing. So if I read chapter 3 and something crazy happens in chapter 3 and I'm like, okay, I have to talk about that part, then I'm going to talk about it. Like, it's a full spoiler, but just for that part, not the whole book. It's an as I read it. It's kind of an as I'm, react as I read review, which I've never seen that before in reviews, so that's why I'm going to try it out. Could be boring, but we'll try it. Now, I chose this book because it's actually being made into a movie called The Maze Runner, September 19th this year, 2014, and I've never heard of it, and whenever I see a book that says, it's going to be made into a movie, I figured I might as well read it. And since I wanted to start doing reviews, I figured I'd start with this one. So let's get started. This review is going to encompass chapters 1 and 2, because for this review, for this book, the chapters are very short. Or at least they are right now. Maybe they'll get longer later. But chapter 1 and 2 was only like 10 pages. It wasn't that much at all. So for these reviews, I'm actually going to attempt to, sort of as a little bit of a guideline for the reviews, I'll ask the 4 questions that I like to ask when I'm doing proofreading of something somebody has given to me, like a book or a manuscript or whatever. And the 4 questions are: 1, was I ever confused? 2, was I ever bored? 3, what characters did I like or dislike and why? And 4, what do you think is going to happen next? Like what do you think is going to happen? What are the ideas going around in your head? So the entire first chapter is just the main character, Thomas, waking up inside of an elevator box thing, and that is going up, and then the ceiling opens, and hands reach in and pull him out, and then, he's surrounded by people he can't see, and then, welcome to the Glade. Super short chapter. Dashner uses a lot of slang in this book, like shank and clunk. I don't know if I like it or not. It's definitely cool that he's trying to make an atmosphere, like an idea of kind of a society of children, and they're making their own language. But I also kind of am worried because I think that he's just using those words as replacements for swear words because it's a young adult novel. I think that's kind of lame, honestly, if that's the reason, but we'll see. If I enjoy it enough, then I guess I shouldn't care why he's doing it, but I'd rather have the author be honest and really say what he's... Because a bunch of teenagers stuck together in a glade are not going to say clunk for shit. They're going to say shit. Some people do slang very well, like the Uglies Pretty Special series by Scott Westerfield. He uses a lot, like it's futuristic, whatever, and he makes up a lot of languages and makes up a lot of slang stuff, and it's really good in the sense like if when I'm done reading the book I'm using those slang in my thinking, then it's good slang. I would think so. And so I don't know if this will end up like that. It could just be annoying. We'll see. So chapter 2 starts with Thomas meeting all of the all the people that pulled him out of the hole, which happens to be a bunch of children, 13-year-olds to 17-year-olds, like teenagers, kids, not children, I guess. And they're all using a bunch of slang that he doesn't recognize, and they're not like nice, you know. It's not like a hey, welcome. It's they're calling him names and whatever. And so eventually the leader introduces himself, and Thomas, the main character, is just like, where am I? What am I doing here? And they're like, oh, you're in the Glade. But they don't really give him any other information. And so he's like, he kind of throws a hissy fit and is like, I want to know where I am. And so he doesn't shake the leader's hand, and instead he goes and sits at a tree and is like, you got to tell me. So the leader goes, Albie is his name. Albie goes and sits next to him and is like, look, it's a lot of information and you'd be too terrified if we told you all at once. So we'll give you the tour tomorrow, and you can learn that stuff then. And for now, you just spend the night, go to bed, and we'll talk about it in the morning. And then he assigns somebody to give him his bed in the night. And I think he meets somebody else who he actually likes more than Albie, who's friends with Albie but younger, called Newt, who speaks in like an accent of some kind. And so Newt tells Thomas that he's going to give Chucky the job of giving him his bed and stuff, and that's that. And then right after that, the chapter ends. Was I ever confused? No. I think most of my confusion, if there ever was any confusion, was simply that Dashner uses so much slang immediately that the character is confused and you are also confused. So it's kind of like, what does clunk mean? I don't even know. Like, I don't know what that means. Shank, they use a lot too. These are things that, and he's using it probably just to build atmosphere and stuff, but that's part of the confusing. It's part of confusion. So whatever that means, maybe it's not enough for me to not read it anymore, but it is confusing. That's just a fact. Was I ever bored? No, I wouldn't say I was ever bored, but I'm certainly confused at why he's not getting information. It's just saying, oh, you'd be too scared. It's like, that's kind of like wussy. I don't know. I just want to know. But maybe that's just me saying, well, I just want to know, but I don't know what the information is. It's kind of boring, in the sense that I just wish I want to know. I don't know. Yeah. What characters do I like and dislike? There's a character in there, one of the boys, one of the Gladers, that doesn't like him or something, gives him like a death glare. And whatever that's about, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Maybe that's like the nemesis that he's introducing. I better have a good reason why that person doesn't like Thomas. I mean, unless, I guess there's always just psychos, whatever. But I want to have a good reason why. So number 4, what do I think is going to happen next? I mean, obviously there's going to be like a tour, and they're going to talk. Hopefully I'm going to get some answers. That's what I really want, is I want to be told some stuff, maybe introduced a little bit to whatever. I mean, obviously it's going to do it. I'm going to see it. But with these first 2 chapters, it's actually really good. I like the writing. It makes me want... It's very basic because it's young adult. I can't expect it to necessarily be super highbrow, but it's there. It's good. It's easy to follow. It's fun to read. I do want to read more. The chapters are short, so that kind of makes it easier also. And I don't know. I'm just curious to see what happens next. I've never read anything by Dashner before, so I don't know if this is like I don't know his writing style. So I'm gonna have to learn it. Hi, sorry for the jump cut, but my camera actually died in the middle of the last sentence. But the gist of it was just that because these chapters are so short, there's not really much more to talk about. So, thank you very much for watching. Please click the like button if you like this review, and let's get on to the next chapter.